What's happening, family? It's your man, Dapper D, and this is Dap No Cap TV, and this is the breakdown. So, in having the breakdowns, double downs, and the lowdowns that I bring you guys on a regular basis, these are just all segments where I either expound on something that I came across and I need to bring across to you guys. Um, First, like my man, the baby says, I got to go baby on baby. I got to go Dap No Cap on Dap. So, a couple of things about me. I have found it a very fortunate time to be blessed to be able to work in some of the industries that I've worked in and to work with the people that I've worked with. So let's not get it twisted. Whenever I say what I say, it's because of the fact that I'm making observances to the way that I'd like things to be. And I think everybody does that. So sometimes when you hear somebody complaining about life, it's just because of the fact that they want things to go their way. So they're mad either with themselves or the universe or somebody else, some imaginary figure that stands off in the wings and keeps them from getting to that pie in the sky that they're looking for. A lot of times my sense of duty, my sense of what's right and wrong trips me up. And I end up getting in a situation where I expect more of a situation or of people or entities that they don't deserve as much. I got to take it for face value. So a lot of times when I look at, whenever I do my meme madness segments, one of the memes that I came across that I had to apply it to myself and actually go dap on dap was if you look at your circle, you should be inspired. And if you don't, then it's more of a cage. That's me paraphrasing, but it's to that effect almost. So for me, I've always looked at my circle of close friends, family members, and the people that I deal with regularly to be able to accomplish anything. Not just the people I go out and have fun with, but like the people that I choose to build with and go on and do great things with. So over time frame, I've built a great network. I must say that I know some very innovating people. And I guess I can't think where I had to kind of check myself is that I considered, a great deal of these very inspiring minds as my circle. So with that, there was a certain level of expectation of more of a round table thought process. Is that, okay, we all come to the table, we all bring these assets to the table. Everybody has their own superpower. And in that, we were going to be, some kind of odd versions of the Justice League or the Avengers or whatever it is that you subscribe to that entails a group that takes care of each other. And I've always operated like that. Not everybody does. So when that thought process that I have, that only a few people in the circle, if the circle is of 10 people, maybe only 3 of us really got down to that spit in your hand, blood pact that this is what we're going to do. But everybody else kind of benefited from, all of those die hard, we're not going to let each other down, leave no man behind mentality that me and the 3 decided we were going to do. So eventually, due to their own hard work or their own networking, their own abilities, the skills that they have developed on their own, some of my associates, friends, and family members have gone on to great things, and I'm proud of them. Like I am very proud of them for them being able to put their abilities on a higher platform, being able to showcase what they can do, showcase a product that they've been working on for years, showcase ideas that they have been churning on since I've known them, So sometimes it took them a long time to get the clothing line off the ground or some type of entrepreneurial spirit that they were trying to satiate. And that's cool. I mean, I'm happy about that. I think the issue for me had to do with, I've also had dreams as well, but I'm also the consummate wingman. And I've always tried to help other people get to where they wanted to go. And I kind of felt some kind of way when I didn't get that feeling reciprocated, that other people did not come to my aid as I did to theirs. Now, there are some people that will look at this and be like, like, dude, I came to your bat. I helped you. And yeah, that's you. A lot of times when I release these things, people get sensitive about certain subjects because as soon as I release this, they don't realize this is a public forum and I'm talking about the many people that I've met in my lifetime or the many subjects that can be addressed, and they kind of operate with the hit dog a holler mantra. It's like you're feeling some kind of way because of the fact that you think this is about you, and not everybody this is. So I may have posted something at one point in time where I felt like I was let down by somebody close to me. And the funny part about it is a lot of people have let me down. So all of them started to feel some kind of way because they thought it was specifically about them when I was only really talking about one person. So it's like, I don't feel the need to explain nor retract my statement because, you know, yeah, you fit. I wasn't talking about you this time, but you still fit the mold, you know. But when it comes down to where I had to go baby on myself, was basically I faulted myself, and and a friend of mine, a great friend of mine, my brother, ended up telling me that, man, you gotta get out of your own way. You have to get out of your own way and do, you know, what you need to do for you. And in that situation, I took it as like, bro, I'm not doing anything to hold myself back. But that sense of I want to take one step forward and then I want to take 3 steps back to get everybody else and then get us all to take 1 step forward. That mindset is destroying all of my productivity. It is making me bitter towards the world. It is making me bitter towards the people that I'm close to because of the fact that it's not getting us all to any kind of successful place. When it comes to the plan that I have, I was trying to involve so many other people. And then in that, because those people had some kind of connection in one way or another to certain entities, they were able to network in areas that I did not have. I didn't have a foot in that room. So this guy comes and tells me, yo, man, don't worry about it. I got you. I'm gonna work with you on this thing. And you do all of this, and I'm gonna do this thing over here. I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds good. All right, it's a team. I'm gonna do my thing. You're gonna do your thing together. You know, as your man said, we're gonna super cop up and we're gonna handle our business, and it's gonna go on to be something great, right? Right. And then I put myself in that position of having to wait for another grown ass man to do what the hell they said they were gonna do, and it didn't work out. And I did it again and again and again and again and again. And when I say that I have about 40 different opportunities sitting on a table, or better yet, now sitting on a shelf because of the fact that each one of them required a certain level of participation for somebody else. It wasn't like they did, oh, well, I did, you know, we was a 50-50 thing. And in most situations, it's like, no, I did 90% of the work, and all I needed you to do was come in on this part and do this part. That's it. You know, this is something that we're supposed to be working on together. I'm more than happy to go and grind it out when you're juggling a whole bunch of other things. And I think that was the part that I was dealing with that was making me mad, because I watched other people deal and collaborate and build with other people that were not in our circle. That I got my air quotations up. They weren't in our circle, but somehow you're building with them and you're not building with me. You know, I'm supposed to be family. You're telling me that I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread at what I do. And this is you applauding me for my super ability, you know, and tell me that that's the reason why I am where I am, or that's the reason why I'm one of the heads of this conglomerate that we got here. But at the same time, you're never trying to work with me. So when we go back to that, I'm looking at my circle, and my circle does inspire me in this way, in that I am happier for all the accomplishments they've made. But I'm not inspired by the fact that it seemed like everybody want to work with everybody else but me. So to go ham on myself, I had to start thinking about it like, okay, is there something deficient in me that these people are not utilizing me in what they're doing? I'm not the type of guy to come in and take over your operation. That's not how I do things. In most situations, I'm an extension of you until it's time for me to do otherwise, until you need me to do otherwise. I don't just take licenses upon myself to do things like that, because at the end of the day, your baby is your baby, meaning your project, your brainchild is your baby, and you're going to break your neck to make sure it turns out exactly the way that you want it, despite what I might feel about it. So my job is just to get you to where you want it to be. Now, when you want to talk about we are working on something together, then that's something that we both collaborate and we have a equal input on. Now, me, I tried to get the world to get in on this podcasting thing. I sent it out to everybody I possibly could. I sent every app, every piece of information, and everybody either blew it off or they did everything else. Now I look at now, and that was a couple of years ago. That was about 2 years ago when I actually started telling everybody like, yo, we need to get into it. Now, mind you, the podcasting game has been alive for decades. People have been putting out some type of blog, podcast, something for the longest. So it's not as though I just came up with it. I just found that it was more easy coming across certain apps that you can use on your phone to make it way more easier to the point where you wouldn't have to go into a studio and get somebody to mix and master and have a radio station, you got to broadcast, you got to do all this other stuff. None of that has to be done nowadays. You got something to say, they got apps for you to get it out there to the world. So my problem was that everybody blew me off. And then nowadays you look at it, David Banner got a podcast, and Steven Jackson, the basketball player, got a podcast, and T.I. got a podcast, and Joe Budden got a podcast, and like anybody who's anybody and who's nobody all at the same time has a podcast now. And all these people have these opportunities to do these great things, and that's the hard part. So what got me upset was that nobody went in on the idea at the same time that I went on the idea. And then everybody went on and on to invest their time in listening to other people's podcasts. I'm like, the whole time you could have been creating your own. While you're sitting here listening to and critiquing somebody else's and saying that theirs is not good enough or they didn't do this the right way, you could have been making your own and do it exactly the way that you want to. So I was doing that, and I was just pumping out little mini bites of information. I was recording all these little things, and it helped me out in the sense where it allowed me to record my voice, listen to what I needed, to change about all those things, to go into great detail, to learn what I was saying wrong or how I was delivering things the wrong way. So I got better and better at it. I really decided that from here on out that I'm just going to give the content. I'm just going to create it. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to do what I need to do. That's it. Everybody else that wants to get involved, more power to you. It's great. But all my time of, hey, yo, let's do this together, I'm not really worried about that anymore. So that's been the stall on everything. I had to work with other things like, I was working on other projects on other platforms at the exact same time. So there wasn't this complete, utter state of being stagnant while I've been quiet on social media. Certain things I had to learn, certain things I had to teach myself, and certain things I had to go and learn from somebody else in order for me to be better at what I planned on doing. So other opportunities came up that were totally out of left field. They had nothing to do with what I was doing. And I'm like, okay, well, far be it for me to try to turn down some money. So let me go ahead and involve myself in those things. And in the meantime, I could still be working on what I need to be working on. But normally for most people, if they have some support group, and we're not talking about financial, there's somebody behind them saying, yo, so what's happening with that thing? Like if you was a ball player or something like that, and be like, yo, man, what did you get in the last game that you were playing in? And you went to tell them about your stuff, and they're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna come to your next game, or I'm gonna be involved with the next thing you gotta do, or next time you want to train, let me know, or I'll go to the gym with you and we'll put up shots together, or whatever it is. And all that type of stuff is help. It's not a monetarily, well, do I need to buy you some tennis shoes, or do I need to, buy you a new basketball? It's just like, no, just being present in the moment and actually caring about the project that the person is trying to put together. And people they lose that. They forget that that's support too. So when it comes to involvement, you could either help or you could support. When it comes to the interaction that you give, all that does is help people think. So as many of these breakdowns, as many of these lowdowns, as many of these double downs that I'm going to give you, your interaction is going to help other people. It's going to shine a light on whatever topic that we talk about, and then it's going to help other people greatly by getting them to think about the things that you bring up. So sometimes I might bring up a subject or have somebody else bring up a subject and I play devil's advocate. Not that I totally agree with the thought process that I just laid out. It's just like, okay, well, that's another way that people can think about it. So that's the problem that we have on top of communication in this world, is the fact that we find it really hard to see and understand somebody else's thought process and viewpoint. So you think automatically, just because of the fact that somebody does not agree with you, that they're hating and that they're being mean and that they're being trifling, and that's just not life. It's okay for me to disagree with you. More than likely, I disagree with you simply because of the fact that I grew up a different way. I was taught a different way. I think a different way. I was raised a different way. My work ethic is something different, and it doesn't make me better or worse. It's just simply that I've walked a different path than you have. So when you walk your path, absolutely, you're supposed to gain interest and knowledge from what you actually went through. I would expect it no other way. So you can't expect me to be any different. So this breakdown has more so to do with me putting myself in the mirror and saying, look, man, stop worrying about everybody else. Stop worrying about everybody else's help. Stop worrying about focusing on somebody else's well-being, because it's not just because, oh, they're not thinking about mine. It's like, no, because it's important. You have too many people depending on you. Those same people that decided not to get involved later on depend on me for some other things. Everybody laughed at me when I decided to get into the club industry. They thought it was the weirdest thing in the world for me to say that in the 7th grade. Yeah, it was weird that for a 7th grader to say that, I know. But ultimately, when I did, people came back and they remembered that. And they said, dude. So I commenced to hiring all of these people once I became a manager in the club industry. All my boys, all my qualified boys. And then the ones that were not quite qualified, I groomed them and got them ready. So that's the whole point of the team mindset. Right now, I'm a team of me. And my main focus needs to be on trying to get as much of this content out to you guys as possible. And then until that time, I'll see y'all later. So the breakdown for today is that get out of your own way, like I have had to do, like I'm going to do, like my boy told me to do, in order for me to go ahead and shine and be great. And however he meant it may have been a little bit different than I'm receiving it, processing it, and putting it out there. But how I received it was that my thought process of going through and go crossing the finish line together, arm in arm, that's not always going to happen. Sometimes it takes somebody else to walk a long path. And that's what I'm doing right now. So, shouts out to the fam. One love to everybody. Keep hitting me up in the emails and the DMs to let me know what it is that you'd like to talk about. Other than that, this is Dapper D from Dap No Cap, and that's the breakdown.